Is Christmas a waste of time? Welcome to Mark and Pete, two blokes with half an opinion. Now, here's a thought.
Untidy tidings. Christmas decorating can be exhilarating, putting up all the trimmings to impress. It's captivating as you're celebrating when gamely going to excess. Eventually it's nauseating and aggravating when the silly season turns to stress and you're vacillating and calculating who will clean up all the mess. Yes, indeed. Well, the festive period is deemed to be a hotbed for food and packaging waste. Well, the recycling charity WRAP, that's WRAP, reports that each year the United Kingdom alone throws away mountains of packaging, food, and many other detritus every year. So, Mr. Pete, I ask you,
Yes, Mr.
during
Mark.
this fun festive period, as you expand your waste, how much waste
Yeah.
are you going to be throwing away?
Well, here it's inevitable. There's going to be lots of waste. It's just the way things are done at Christmas. It seems set up to be an environmentalist nightmare, doesn't it?
Yes.
There's all the paper for it now. The thing is, let's take the paper from the wrapped presents. When you wrap up the presents, you could carefully unwrap them under the sticky tape, or ask for people only to use ribbon to tie up the papers around the presents so that you can take it off carefully and use the paper again. In fact, it's much more fun to rip the stuff off and just throw it away. So that's what we tend to do. So lots of paper. Of course, that could be put into the landfill site, not site, but it could theoretically go to the recycling centre. So that's not as good as reuse. I recognise that, but lots of waste, and of course extra food. So can you always eat it all? Not always. So that ends up with some waste as well, doesn't it? And of course, then with all the massive Cooper Mansions light display that we put on. Lots of electricity guzzled up just for the winter the Christmas period,
waste.
which is longer and longer. It's weeks.
Well, oh dear.
So yes, happy wasteful Christmas to everyone.
Well, indeed. Well, these
let's pour money down the drain.
I think we've been doing that for quite some time. But you see, the big difference is that the government is really stressing the fact that we need to minimize waste, particularly this year. The economy is poor. You've got plastic waste, as you say, plastic bags, envelopes, and many others. But I'm going to ask you a question then, Mr. Pete. Now, this is an average, but how many wasteful things are thrown away? So here's some thoughts. Let's start with food. So if you take UK homes alone, how many potatoes in tonnage is thrown away on average?
Is this for the whole country or per family?
I'm not sure. I think you're a major contributor, but no, it's for the whole country. Potatoes. We'll start with potatoes.
5 million tons.
Well, no, it's actually. Well, that would explain your appetite. No, it's actually 710,000 tons. Now, how much poultry is thrown away in tonnage?
I couldn't visualize a ton of potatoes. That was my problem. Yeah. Okay,
well,
but
that's just your second helpings.
Yes, go ahead. What was the other question?
Poultry.
A poultry question,
which is not a poultry amount either.
How much poultry? Oh, well, as that's over 7, so I'm going to say more. I'm going to say 10,000 tons.
Well, no, it's actually 100,000 tons. Now, how many carrots?
That's 10 times.
No, the other one was a 710,000.
Oh, I misunderstood. Oh, right. Oh, okay. I'm mishearing as well.
Anyway, let's get to carrots, because carrots.
This is the professional broadcasting you expect from Mark.
Exactly.
Yes, go on. Yes.
Carrots to you.
Oh, carrots. Now, carrots are very, very tasty as vegetables.
Yes, they're also used for snowmen.
Then used to snowmen, but that might be counted as throwing away. I'm going to go then, as it was 700,000, 100,000. I'm going to go for 300,000.
No, there's actually, I think you could probably gather that certain things are not seen as wasteful. It's only 96,000. I say only. Oh. Goodness me! But here's the thing: you mentioned about card packaging.
Mhm.
Now, as you know, this is probably one of the biggest areas where landfill really sort of heaves each year. So at
Yes.
Christmas, we consume enough card packaging to
Yes.
cover Big Ben. How many times? That's Big Ben, the
Five.
tower clock.
5.5.
5.5 times.
Yes.
No, no, it's 260,000 times.
So are you saying I was a bit out there?
I think you were slightly out.
That's a
Now,
lot of card, isn't it? My
that's a lot of
goodness.
card, isn't it? So you think about that. You think of what you could do with that card. I mean,
Yes.
there's tremendous
You could
amounts.
send a Christmas card next year.
Well, indeed. Now, when you look at when you think about the amount of carrots, I've already given you a clue, but I'm going to
Yes.
do a little analysis here.
Right.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. How many weights in reindeer, herds of reindeer, are
Yes.
the same as the amount of carrots thrown away? So you're going to have to do some calculation
Oh,
here.
right. Yes.
Yes,
So it was 96,000 tons,
tons.
was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Now that's a herd of reindeer, as
Well, it
in the
says
one
yes,
that
a herd
the
of
one that
so
pulls the
many
sleigh,
amount
obviously.
of reindeer weighs the same amount as the
Um,
carrots thrown away,
it's the
according
one
to
that
the
pulls the
list.
sleigh. We're not sure whether it's with or without Rudolph.
No,
So
we
we can
can't,
only
because
approximate.
his nose
But
would weigh a bit more.
I'm going to say 25,000.
No, it's 636,000
Oh, they're
reindeer.
quite light.
That's
Reindeer are lighter than I thought. There
well,
you go.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, what you can see here is that there is a terrible amount of wastage that's going on.
Yes.
But here's the thing. I know that people like the glitzy, tinsely type of packaging, and there has
They
been a
do.
major initiative to try and get to recycling packaging. But why do we even need to actually wrap it? I mean, why can't we just put the
Yes,
item
we
under
do.
the tree and put a label on the person's, on the name,
Yeah.
with
Now,
a name tag?
a mutual friend of ours who shall remain nameless, I know that his family would not wrap at all, not even put a label on it.
No, and I
And at
know some others
Christmas
that wouldn't even give you the present.
would wait until later in the day and say, "Oh, by the way, I got you that." And you see, maybe that's the approach we want to go for. But
Yes.
what is the point of wrapping it? To make it a special occasion. I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's Christmas is a special occasion, so you have the wrapping, so you have the cards, so you have the different foods. But I think to give the comment on it a Mark and Pete twist, um, you don't want to be wasteful because you're going to be harming the environment and you're going to be using up money from your coffers.
Yes.
But you can make things special without being wasteful. You can use some beautiful paper, even though I was laughing at it earlier. You could actually do what I suggested, which is simply tie ribbons around
Well,
your
there is. Here's
presents. And if you use paper, tie it up with a ribbon, not stick it down with sellotape so it can be used again. But you actually only need a ribbon around it unless
well,
you want to actually keep it secret.
there's something more serious as well. So, as you mentioned about being greener,
Yes.
our total consumption of spending of food, travel,
Yeah.
lighting, and gifts over the 3 typical days of Christmas, so that's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, particularly in the United Kingdom, results in a certain amount of carbon dioxide emissions, that's the CO2 emissions, per person. How much do you
Yes.
think that is in kilograms per person? It's a reasonable amount. Just as an idea.
Kilograms per person.
Yes.
I'm going to
During
say
those 3 days.
over the 3 days. I'm going to say 78.
It's 650. So if you
No,
think that what's actually happening
I
is
was actually very
extending our
serious
carbon
about the
footprint.
78. Yeah. Say again.
We're extending our carbon footprint. That's the problem
Yes.
here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
So it's the equivalent to the weight of how many Christmas puddings?
Oh, that's a very good question. I'm glad you put it like that. And what
Yes.
I would say is that's probably 600 Christmas puddings.
And that's actually not too bad. It's actually slightly more than that. It's 1,000.
Okay.
1,000 Christmas
Well, it
puddings.
depends how big
Yeah.
your Christmas pudding is, but
Well, that's true. And I know that's a normal helping for you at.
Well, I was thinking in terms of helpings. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. So
Yeah.
returning to our theme, then, is it wasteful? Well, it's not wasteful if you don't have too much. You can have better or different without too much. So, to go back to my misspent youth. When I were but a lad, one of the things we would have different is you have coffee, right? Instead of instant coffee, you have filter coffee, and instead of milk, you put cream in it. So it's not more. In fact, you probably have less because we had used the fancy coffee cups instead of the usual mugs. So, but you make it special. Instead of your usual wine, you have champagne. So it's a bit, well, it's more expensive, but there's not more of it. It doesn't have to involve excess to make it special. That's my argument. What do you reckon?
I recall the philosophy that I used to have, remembering those times those glorious times, was that actually I was very sustainable at that time because I used to just make more mess in your house.
Yes, yeah,
which
that's the way to do
which
it.
was
Yeah.
much
remember
better,
that,
and invite
actually.
everybody else around at the same
And
time.
actually, I know that was we're talking about 35 years ago or something, but or maybe probably more than that.
It's
now.
more.
But it's about time you came around to clear it up.
No, it's mounted up quite significantly now.
But
Yes.
yeah, so we've got is Christmas a waste of time? Well, it can increase your waist size, of course. We mentioned that earlier, or you mentioned that earlier with too many calories. But in terms of an actual waste, well, I think there are things you can do to stop it being so wasteful. But once a year, having a big party and so being a bit excessive, isn't it just part of living a meaningful life to do that? Are we going to say there's no celebration, no festival, no festivities because the Labour government tells us it spent all our money on something else?
That's right.
What are we going to do? What do you think, Mark? What's your answer?
Well,
Is
I'm
Christmas
afraid
a waste?
I think that what we need to do is just to have one big final blowout, so that we can all remember a Christmas for generations to come. And why not? I think that the country deserves it. But I think that yes, I think that we need to think. I don't think Christmas is a waste of time, but I think that we can certainly manage ourselves much better with cheer
Yes.
in our hearts, and that's
one of the things
what
we could do is focus on the meaning of it. Now, for
Yes.
Christians, of course, it's the birth of Jesus, but for many people, maybe just cultural Christians that just live in Britain, or live in America, so Christmas is what you do. It's a time of getting the family together, and that's the meaning of it. So focusing on that rather than on the consumption and what presents you get. Of course, that's important, but still, give some presents. Be generous. Be excessive. And you heard it from Mark. From Mark and B, we say, yeah, just spend the money and hang the overdraft, and put it on a charge card to Keir Starmer, and I'm sure he'll be willing to
absolutely
pay the tab. Yeah. But that's it from Mark and Pete for this week. It just remains for Mark and myself to wish you a very wasteful and Merry Christmas.